Good morning, I'm head teacher Charlotte Booth-Reiner at KPA Primary Academy. It's 7 o'clock, just got into school, ready for the day ahead. It's a bit of a busy and nerve-wracking day today, quite exciting in many respects. Firstly, it's a programme day today. I'm on the Royal Opera House Bridge Leaders for Impact programme, so I'm very much looking forward to hearing some motivational speakers and really working on my leadership strategies and how to keep the arts alive in primary education. Simultaneously, we'll be running the school and using my breaks from my programme to make phone calls to parents and to do all of the other things that are part of my job, which I'll give you more of an insight into later. And thirdly, the most nerve-wracking part of today is that we've been asked by our colleagues at Reach 2 to put together a few videos, a little case study of what it has been like to lead a school through a pandemic, and to give you a bit of an overview of how we've supported our families within our school community. So I'm going to intersperse my day with tiny little video clips such as this, which hopefully give you a bit of an insight into what it has been like.
In school, our ongoing support and provision for our vulnerable children ensures a consistent approach day to day. We offer a breakfast club and have opened our doors earlier to allow children to enter the school when families are ready. Lunches are provided to those who require a free school meal. Our bubble arrangements ensure that children are in a safe environment, supported by many staff members with an easy transition from home to school and vice versa. In class, children are given opportunities to take part in a range of lessons alongside the one's timetable to mirror the offer provided to home learners. We are lucky to be able to offer each child a PE and forest school session each week. This allows them time in the fresh air to develop their social skills and mix with different peers. In the classroom, further support is offered not only through quality first teaching, but from the availability of IT resources such as laptops, iPads and interactive screens, enabling progression of computing skills and giving access to a wide range of resources and software to support in-class learning. Our Thrive practitioner continues to support vulnerable pupils through timetable sessions each week. Staff have access to Thrive approaches and materials to support pupils daily within the class setting. Staff CPD has allowed us to support pupils who show signs of attachment concerns. However, we offer a flexible approach to nurture the well-being of all pupils. In these difficult times, we teach children who are anxious, confused, removed, or are angry and resentful at being in school whilst peers learn at home. We support this by hosting live lessons daily and enjoy daily live year group assemblies to not only take attendance and inform of the day's learning, but more importantly, to allow pupils to see each other, be part of our collective approach to curb learning, and know that their friendship groups are still important. We listen, we act, we care. Staff, parents and pupils never fail to show determination and resilience, and it is this that drives our school to achieve something special.
To ensure a successful rollout of our remote learning strategy, we've made sure to deliver bespoke training to class teachers and LSAs and any other support staff. This training has been specific to the roles that each member of staff will undertake during this time, and all of the sessions have been recorded so that staff can revisit at any point, and these have been shared across our trust as well. To support our families at home, we've made instructional videos on how to use our online learning platforms. We've made these for different devices such as laptops and tablets. We've also offered live drop-in sessions for any tech issues to make sure that these are dealt with swiftly. We've also made sure we've adapted our practice to suit the needs of families on an individual basis, for example, if they have multiple children or a lack of technology.
I'll give you an example. One of the phone calls that I made was to a family with 5 children. 4 of them come here, one is at secondary school, and I asked them about access to devices, and the mum said, "We are absolutely fine, help some other families." And I said, "Oh great, what are you using?" And she said, "Well, they've got my phone, which has good internet, it's fine, and and when their dad's home, they can use dad's phone as well, and they're able to access the Zooms and the live sessions as they're on a timetable, and then we just do everything else as and when we can, in whatever way we can. And I was very keen to say, it doesn't have to be like that. We can and we will provide a wider number of, or greater number of devices to your family, and they can then complete their learning on the platform that we have established, in the same way that all other children do. And then they'll be able to receive the same quality of feedback from their class teachers and learning support assistants as all the other children get. And the family was very grateful, but it was really that determination to try to do their absolute best that was really heartwarming. And now we've been able to eliminate just a couple of the barriers against the children's progress.
We have had to adapt our assessment practice at this time, so we've been grading learning on a scale of 0 to 3, depending on effort, and this is respective of differing abilities of children. There's also options to leave written feedback, and combining live lessons with online document sharing, we've been able to live mark with the children as well.
So I've been asked to give a comment about how we support our vulnerable families, and I have to say that term is actually a bit narrow in the guidance. It started off in the first guidance as a child who has a social worker or an EHCP, for example, and then in more recent guidance it does widen that out so that it takes into consideration children who are at risk of mental health issues, or who are on the verge of needing support from other services such as social care. But actually, the vulnerabilities are far wider than that, and we're seeing that quite obviously in our community. It's as though all of our families are vulnerable to significant change in one aspect or another. We're seeing families who are not in receipt of free school meals entering poverty due to work changes and financial adjustments in their household, and also illness or isolation preventing people from working and not being paid for those periods of time. We're also seeing a rise in financial fraud, which is leaving people quite destitute literally overnight. And we're seeing the family dynamic changing in lots of circumstances, lots of family breakups, and pressure from being locked down together under this umbrella of the pandemic, which is causing crippling anxiety for so many people, and impacting the mental health and parenting capacity of so many of our parents across the community. There are also aspects such as bereavement, which we're seeing more and more as the pandemic grows, and illness, which is affecting our families. And I think there's a kind of feeling that this closure of schools could widen the disadvantage. And I have to say, in some respects, the pandemic has been a great equaliser in making all of our families quite vulnerable. And we have plunged some of our most competent and capable parents into despair by putting pressures on them with the support of the digital aspects of education, and that has been quite sad to see, actually, that there are lots and lots of our parents who are trying desperately to work from home whilst managing 3, 4, 5 children and supporting their access and supervising safely their access to our digital learning offer. And we're seeing some of those parents having to postpone their own work and stay up all night to be able to offer their support to the children during the course of the day. So all of our families are impacted in different ways and are vulnerable in different ways, and so the first port of call really in supporting our vulnerable families is to assume absolutely nothing and to widen communication so that we can find out what issues are becoming barriers for our children to be successful in continuing their studies at this time. So without that assumption and with that concept of equality, what we're seeing actually is a real opening of communication, and we are far more accessible right now because of the digital means of communication. People are not making an appointment to come and see me. I'm receiving constant emails and Facebook messages, and the school phone is ringing off the hook constantly with questions and queries and requests for support. And actually that has given us some security that at least our families are communicating with us, and then we have the starting point for how we can offer assistance, and that assistance comes in a whole variety of ways. It could be technical support and assistance, it could be signposting mental health services, it could be making referrals for wider support for our children or for their parents, it could just be a listening ear, it might be an impromptu food parcel, it might be the loaning of a device, and I'll give some more information about that shortly. It could be absolutely anything, but what we are seeing is a sense of community like we've never seen before. The appreciation from our families has been quite heartfelt, and the dedication from the Kirby team to support our families in whichever way they need has been incredible. It has been so inspiring watching staff from all different areas of the school giving up so much to offer support to make things okay as we all try to get through this. And the other thing that we have seen is families supporting each other, and some families who we know are in abject poverty offering to support other families who are in similarly destitute circumstances. The openness and the willingness to help each other has been really unique, I think, and it has brought us together as a school community in a way that we never really expected, and it's something that will be a positive that comes out of this pandemic, that we will continue to have a great network of support from both within the school, the wider school community, and then a whole layer from our local community, which has really stepped up to help us, to help our families in this time of need.
Hi, I'm Miss Donovan and I'm the attendance officer here at Kirby Primary Academy. As a Kirby parent myself, I appreciate how vital communication is, and I am proud that we strive here to make families feel as included in their child's school life as possible. Busy parents need to speak to us at times that are available to them. This could be around working from home, home learning and their families. Previously we would have used a telephone and email, but now we're also using other platforms such as Class Dojo, Google Classroom, Zoom, text messaging, in-app messaging and Facebook. These messages are picked up by our staff almost 24 hours a day and dealt with even through the night. Contact would usually be regarding appointments, forgotten school kit or first aid, but now we're assisting with technology queries, the vital dispatch of equipment including laptops, tablets and data cards. We've arranged of parcels for free school meals and hot cooked food, delivery of testing kits and shopping to those that are in isolation. We have made welfare calls to single parents over the Christmas period that may have felt alone and isolated. Helping parents with information on how to receive additional financial or wellbeing assistance. We've also assisted families that have been victims of house fire and helping them to rebuild their homes. Our staff here are parents too, and also have feelings of being overwhelmed, guilt, loneliness and exhaustion, which is why here we endeavour to be here every single step of the way for our families.
During the first lockdown, Thrive's social and emotional wellbeing had never been more important. The majority of our children were being homeschooled and our critical worker and vulnerable children were still attending school. We had to adjust the way we deliver Thrive quickly to ensure our children understood, no matter where they were, that they were our priority at the very forefront of whatever we do. Being a Thrive practitioner, it is imperative to maintain the relationships already established with our children and for them to understand that we will be available for them throughout. Thrive is a hands-on practice, and COVID has taken away some of the personal touches like being able to comfort a child in crisis. We modified our practice quickly to make sure our children didn't feel isolated and alone. Whilst we could deliver certain aspects of this to the children we had in school, we had to think about how we could impact the children at home. With the support of Thrive Head Office, we reached out to our children at home by writing weekly postcards and encouraging them to write back to us. We sent them activity sheets with ideas for themselves and their adults to participate in, keeping open our communication and trying to maintain a relationship. Our children in school liked this idea too, and also wanted communication sent home to them, which we happily did. We understand how important it is to ensure our families are socially and emotionally secure, and yet this latest lockdown has challenged us even more. We have been given more training through Thrive on how to successfully deliver our practice on platforms like Zoom, and we are currently working on how we can safely do this. We are dedicated to supporting our young people and their families throughout this pandemic.
Continue to be open for vulnerable learners. This includes children with a social worker or an education healthcare plan, or who may be vulnerable for another reason. For those vulnerable children who are working from home, we provide personalised learning in breakout rooms with the class teacher or their learning support assistant, or work can be adapted to meet their needs with the online learning. For others who are working from home, they might need to have the right tools. For example, number lines and counters, Numicon that is delivered to them so they can access the curriculum from home. Now, the other side of special needs is obviously keeping in contact with professionals, so social workers, occupational therapists, making sure that those meetings continue and that the children have the bespoke equipment in their home so they can continue learning from there. Risk assessments need to take place for children who are accessing therapy, making sure that everything is COVID safe. For safeguarding, things have really opened out and there's an increased focus on people's mental health. People are feeling anxious, family members feeling frustrated, and it's about signposting people the right direction, or maybe referring them to the right group, the right person that can support their needs. Sometimes it's also about being the listening ear and being the sounding board and giving reassurance and giving guidance sometimes too. Now, with the online learning, things have really opened up with conversations with parents. Class dojo, people are communicating with their class teachers, and extended telephone conversations, or maybe a Zoom parent and child. So although we don't have the opportunity to have those, playground conversations, there's still lots of opportunity to keep in contact, keep our community together and support each other as we continue our journey through these difficult times.
Alongside the financial disadvantage that we are hoping to combat through some of the strategies that we're using in school, we identified a disadvantage regarding technology and an inequality, certainly, regarding technology and access to appropriate devices for use in engaging with our remote education offer. We gave out the laptops that we received from the Department for Education very swiftly, and we needed more, and we needed a wide range of devices to ensure that our children did not have technology as a barrier to their education, as if there were not enough barriers right now with not being able to be in school. So we made it clear in our wider community that this was something we were struggling with. And we've been incredibly fortunate. There is a local IT company, they're called Naglatech, in a local village nearby, and they started a laptop appeal. They contacted the businesses that they serve and they requested support, and they asked for the donation of any disused laptops. The company then reconditioned those and set them up for us with the appropriate systems, and they checked them and they delivered them to us for us to be able to distribute to more of our families who aren't necessarily in receipt of free school meals and yet often did not have any technology whatsoever. Additional to that, we have had a local family set up a Facebook group where they've called it Tech to the Kids, and they are requesting devices that they can do a similar thing with in restoring them to factory settings and safeguarding those and ensure that they work before turning them into the school for us to swiftly distribute amongst our children. We are going to get to the point, we are absolutely determined to get to the point where every one of our children has access to appropriate devices and the Wi-Fi to be able to run those, so that they are not given a barrier to their learning and their progress, because otherwise it makes a mockery of everything we've done to revolutionise our practice and our educational systems and to blend our learning and to create a really strong remote education offer if the children then cannot get to access it. So we are absolutely determined to abolish the digital poverty that surrounds our school community, and we're just so lucky that we have a wider community that is happy to support us to do so. In fact, we are ambitious that we will soon be at the point where our children have adequate access and we are then able to share leftover devices with other schools who have not been so fortunate in obtaining those for their children.
Over this difficult time, Kirby have been absolutely amazing in providing support for families, that support that you might not necessarily think is what people needed. Just knowing that there's a friendly ear, listening to what families need and providing that support, that's what's been amazing. So for us particularly, Zoom calls with my daughter's one-to-ones, that was a great surprise for her, and it really just kept us going. They've been doing the things that you might expect, providing technology for families, going shopping, although shopping for all families in the school, not just for families with children receiving free school meals, for every family. The most important thing has been knowing that they are there, they're there to support us, they're at the end of the phone. and that they really care for each child in their individual situation. They've been amazing. We can't thank them enough. My daughter agrees.
The support we're getting at this time from Kirby Primary Academy is just amazing. The remote learning resources we have access to, along with the live lessons, are keeping the children on track and happy. And even if it's just a friendly voice at the end of the phone, they're always there for us. Just outstanding.
So I just wanted to say how amazing Kirby Primary Academy have been in the last few months since everything's been happening with the COVID pandemic. The school has a real sense of community, and it really is a hub for our community if anyone needs any help. While the children are being homeschooled, there's so much support from the school and from all the teachers with the work. For key workers like myself, the school has provided, so much help and so much support if the children do need to be in school, and also things to help the community, people who are struggling, organising ICT, organising food parcels. They've done everything, and I'm so proud that my children go to that school, and thank you.
Hi, just a quick message. My name's Tracy Morehouse. Two of my children go to Kirby Primary Academy in Year 5 and Year 6. Just a little message to give an idea of the support that I've been given by the school since the second lockdown. We've had phone calls about food parcels. We had a food parcel delivered, which was fantastic. I'm a single parent and currently out of work due to lockdown anyway, and have been for some time. So that was really helpful for me and my children. We've had brilliant online support. Remote learning is fantastic. The Zoom calls, the extra support from the teachers for the children if they need it. We've been able to contact on Class Dojo. We've had phone calls to check everything's okay and that we're okay. So overall, Kirby is absolutely fantastic, and I'm very proud that my children attend the school.
Just a word about the food parcels, really, that puts something into perspective. And when we first called around to our families to ask if they had enough provisions at home or if they needed some extra support with that, one parent said, single mum of 3 children, said, we just need bread and milk. We're desperate for bread and milk. If we could just have bread and milk, we could do a load with that, which was an interesting starting point for us. And then I had lots of messages to say thank you after we delivered food parcels to the first group of parents. I'll just read you the response from one parent who said, both boys have just jumped up and down with a yes, we got food for lunches and a chicken for roast. Just puts it into perspective, doesn't it? My final musing that I want to send to you today is just about how fortunate we have been at Kirby Primary Academy in many respects. I know that I have the most incredible team of colleagues here whose determination to continue providing an excellent education to our children, regardless of the changing context, they have been instrumental in ensuring our ongoing success. They have been unbelievably flexible and creative in responding to the wild changes that we have executed virtually overnight in some cases. Those changes affect us in all sorts of ways. It's not just education. We are a microcosm of society. When a change comes into place, we are changing a financial position, we are changing an HR perspective, we are changing a safeguarding strategy, our social work with families. We are changing so many aspects, including estates and health and safety, that all have to come alongside our change in education. And despite all of that, this team here has ensured, which you'll see from our parental feedback, that the education offer is still excellent, regardless of the barriers that are set against us and against our families. We will do everything we can to ensure that we continue to deliver a broad curriculum, an exciting and engaging curriculum that is progressive and developmental, and it leads our children to continue to be dedicated to lifelong learning, even if the way that we put that learning across is very different to what they're used to. At least out of this, we will have become the most swiftly strategic and positive school in adapting to change and ensuring that we never let standards slip, regardless of whatever might be going on in the world around us.